Right then, this is video number 2 in my US versus UK series, and today we're going to compare groceries. If you don't like me or you can't be asked to watch this along with me, I will put a link in the description below to the main video, so make sure you click on that and give her some love as well.
These fine British strawberries from West Sussex are £2.30 for a 400 gram punnet.
So let's jump into our first example, strawberries. Doing all that complicated math, the result was the British strawberries are 6% more expensive
Pretty much the
than
same.
the American ones.
It also depends on the season as well though, doesn't it, when you're buying strawberries, and I think I saw best before September, so around summertime, so that's probably the best time to buy strawberries in the UK.
Bananas
Ooh,
are
I love a banana.
£1 1 pence per kilo. American bananas are 49 cents a pound, and when you do the conversion, it means those British bananas are 13% more expensive.
Pretty similar.
Peeler mandarins.
Ooh, easy peeler, or satsumas, or mandarins, or they're all kind of the same thing, aren't they? I can't tell the bloody difference. Maybe they're a little bit sweeter than others, but easy peelers, I love them.
Are £2.50 for a 600 gram bag. Back in the States, looking at a similar item, we have a 3-pound bag of these mandarin clementine oranges.
But they are Tesco's finest.
Buying broccoli by the pound in the States
that's a
is
significant
$1.79 for a
difference.
pound, making the British broccoli 41% cheaper. British carrots, a 1 kilo bag.
I eat a carrot almost every single day, so I go through easily a kilo a week without fail.
Is only 50p. A 2-pound bag of carrots in the States.
I've been to America on numerous occasions, and whilst visiting your wonderful country, whenever you're in restaurants or dining, they're almost apologetic when they ask you if you want a side salad or vegetables with your food, and we're like, yeah, give us some greens, give us some nutrition. We can't just eat carbs and meat.
Nice bell peppers in red, green, yellow, or orange.
What's your favourite coloured pepper? Let me know in the comments below. Personally, I'd have to go with either yellow or red. The green one, it's a little bit shit, isn't it?
This one didn't surprise me at all. When you buy bell peppers in the US, the green ones aren't that expensive.
We can buy like organic ones for that price. That's pretty mental, And even like if you get we'll call them like trickle or mixed pepper pack, like 3 or 4 in a pack, that would cost probably about £1.50 in the UK at the moment. That's mental. $1.50 for a bloody single pepper.
These cherry tomatoes are £1 for a 300 gram packet. But these are the really good ones.
Yeah.
The Sugar Bell tomatoes, they're kind of small cherry tomatoes.
Love a baby plum tomato. Don't know about you.
To try and keep this an apples to apples equivalent, if you pardon the metaphor, I'm
Not
comparing
too
the
much
really
difference.
fancy cherry tomatoes in Britain.
Why does she use the British accent to say tomatoes? Isn't it tomatoes? She's saying tomatoes. 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 Tomatoes.
This bag of baby potatoes.
Oh, they look nice.
Is £1.20 for 1 kilo.
Or 79p with a club card.
79p right now.
Again, it was really hard to find an equivalent, but the closest thing I could find in the States for these small potatoes.
I'm really surprised by that, because in the States, you pretty much have potatoes and fries with a lot of your food and dishes. In the places that I visited anyway. So that is very, very surprising that your potatoes are that much higher.
A lot has been said about how American bread is just not good, and it's kind of true, I'm sorry to say.
Ooh, how'd you feel about that? She's slagging off the bread in your country. But in all fairness, we have some quality selections and variety of breads in most of our supermarkets, not just Tesco in the UK, and you can pretty much buy anything and everything you ever could think of. Personally, I like a seeded batch, and not necessarily these Warburton ones that you can see on the screen, but even the supermarket own brand seeded batch are really, really nice, and they're a lot less expensive too.
So let's look at some good bread here in the UK. One thing I've noticed is that seeded breads are really popular here. way more popular than they are in the States. And they are delicious and nutritious. This is Ian and my favorite new bread. It's Tesco Finest brand, and it's wholemeal seeds and grains.
Yeah, it's a good loaf of bread.
$1.35 per loaf, which is 800 grams. The bread aisle is so different in the US.
They look tiny.
Most of the bread in the bread section is this kind of sandwich bread, which is not very healthy or very good. It's full of preservatives.
Yeah.
And the honey wheat.
It just looks like squashy and I mean, it says it's honey bread, but it does. It looks squashy and sweet and just like a bit cartoonish almost.
Oh, actually, this is new. They do have a whole grain with seeds. So this might be the closest to what we buy in England.
Looks right.
It's $4.99 for a loaf.
This is a biggie.
Wow.
I did actually buy it.
And then I suppose you can probably see why all of those other cartoony, sweet, shitty breads that you've got are more popular, because if you've got to pay that amount of money for a bloody loaf of bread, can't really blame the population for doing so.
With our bread, we need some butter. So
and some
here
butter.
we have
Want to have some butter?
some Tesco brand regular salted butter, and it's $1.79.
So we don't use butter on bread in our gaff, our house. We use olive spread because it just spreads better, and I think it's a bit healthier for you too. We do buy unsalted butter for cooking and things like that, but it's very rare that we actually chuck it on bread.
American butter is also pretty expensive, so store brand butter, comparing American and British.
Not too
British
much of a
butter
difference,
was
is it?
6% cheaper.
Our favorite kind of jam, wherever we are in the world, is bon bons.
Oh, that's
Here
a
is the
winner, that is.
raspberry.
My partner loves this stuff. She would barf in it if I could get enough jars for her.
Normally it's £3.30 for 370 grams, but it's actually on sale for only $2.60 now.
I was
Stock
not
up.
surprised to see that with the American jam being about $6.50 for a jar,
Wow.
the British jam was
That's pretty mental, especially because you love a peanut butter and jelly or jello sandwich. That's a question for you. Is peanut butter and jelly, is it actually jam? I think it is, isn't it? It must be. It's got to be.
These store brand free range eggs, medium size.
This is one thing I will never cheap out on, eggs. They've got to be free range or even organic, and I don't mind paying a little bit more to get that bright orange yolk, which you simply don't get with battery hens. And to be honest with you, I could probably be vegan if it wasn't for eggs and cheese and meat and all of those things that vegans don't eat.
Our eggs are kept in the refrigerated section here, and we
Why'd you keep them in the fridge?
Cage-free eggs that are store brand.
Here's a top tip for all of the American supermarket managing directors out there. Take your eggs out of the fridge, chuck them on a shelf, have less fridges, save yourself a few quid. You're welcome.
So the American eggs come in a dozen, but the British ones were 10% more expensive.
Let's compare prices on two different kinds of cheese.
Cheese.
Here is
Cheese.
an extra mature or sharp cheddar.
What's your favourite cheese? Let me know down below. Personally, I love a brie or a camembert or a nice meaty halloumi or a mild cheddar or a mature cheddar or cheese.
The Kroger brand cheddar cheese is $2.49.
Well, not
for
too
8
much
ounces.
difference, not
It's
too
the
much difference.
orangey kind of.
Of course, we need to talk about milk. So I'm going to look here at the semi.
I don't even know what a pint of milk costs in the UK anymore, to be honest with you. For so many years, we've been buying oat milk. We usually buy like a litre carton and it costs about £1.60 nowadays. And I would argue that of all of the dairy alternative milks out there, oat milk is by far the best one because it tastes the most like milk. And it works really well in tea and coffee because it doesn't get all funny and sink to the bottom and get weird.
I decided to do this all metric. So here are the
Thank
prices
you.
for British and American milk, shown in litres, and the UK milk is 18% cheaper.
The hummus is good and it's inexpensive.
Otherwise known as hummus. I remember when COVID happened and everyone was rushing to the supermarkets to stock up and bulk buy, ripping things off the shelves and knocking people over to get that last toilet roll. And one of the things they strangely run out of was hummus. Yep, that's going to get you through a lockdown, isn't it?
£1.50 for a 300-gram tub.
Yeah,
10 ounces
standard.
of American hummus is almost $4.
These chicken fillets, these chicken breasts, which appear to be free-range chicken, cost £7.50 for 650 grams.
Yeah, mate, that's mental in the
I tried to find an
UK.
American chicken, which would also be free range, so that it was an equivalent comparison.
We don't buy chicken breasts because if you go for free range or organic, they are so expensive nowadays. And if you substitute it for chicken thighs, drumsticks, or anything on the bone, it's usually a few quid cheaper. And in my opinion, it tastes so much better when it's cooked on the bone.
A British beef fillet steak.
How much is that?
8
Bloody
pounds
hell.
For 210 grams.
Just like the salmon, I don't buy steak. If I'm going to eat it, it's usually on a special occasion in a nice restaurant or something because I want it to taste good. And that doesn't always happen if I'm cooking.
I was expecting the British beef to be more expensive, but for filet mignon, it was actually 44% less expensive. When I compared the organic grass-fed
Wow, that's
sirloin
crazy
steak,
difference.
it
Crazy
also
difference.
was more expensive than it is in Britain.
Minced beef that is only 5% fat.
I'm thinking of making a spag bowl looking at that.
I couldn't compare the exact same kind of minced beef.
I'm really surprised by this. Pretty much all of your beef and steak are about 50% more expensive than the UK. And I thought we were bloody dear.
A whole leg of lamb
Lamb.
is 13 pounds per kilo.
Okay, this is funny. I could not find leg of lamb at Kroger. When I searched on leg of lamb in the Kroger website, all that came up was a Lego Lamborghini race car set.
Yeah, you don't want to eat that, do you? Lamb is probably one of my favourite meat proteins, specifically a lamb shoulder or a lamb shank, especially in Persian or Middle Eastern cuisines. Oh, it's making me saliva thinking about it.
Here's our favorite sauces we've been using this summer. The teriyaki sauce, £1.50 for 150 ml.
Teriyaki sauce was one thing that was less expensive in the
It's a little bit random, isn't it, comparing teriyaki sauce? It's quite a specific taste profile and cuisine. I mean, where does it end? She can delve into oyster sauce, fish sauce, sesame oil. She's opening up a huge bloody rabbit hole here. I thought she would have just like compared ketchup or something.
Good old Ben and Jerry's, that's an
This is going to be
American product,
expensive.
is £5.15 for
That's
a
crazy. I would never pay that.
465 milliliter carton.
I was surprised that Ben & Jerry's ice cream,
Really?
another American brand,
That's crazy money. Regardless of whether you're from the UK or the US, are you really willing to spend £5.15 or $6.50 for bloody ice cream? Why not treat yourself to some hummus and carrots? Well, in summary, that's really taken me by surprise because aside from bananas and strawberries, you guys are paying a shit ton more than we are. It's almost like they don't want you to buy fresh food and produce because some of those prices were insane and you can't really blame people for binging on fast food and ice cream. But what disappointed me most in this entire video is that she didn't compare the price of cucumber, my favourite food in the world, which also goes with hummus. Well, that was video number 2 in my US versus UK series, and I've got a few ideas as to what I'm going to tackle next, but by all means, let me know in the comment section below any specific topics or links to videos that you think I should check out, and I'll see what I can do. But until next time, thank you so much for watching. Look after yourselves. Hopefully, I'll see you very soon. Bye for now, people.